All right, well then, that is my great pleasure to introduce Laura to you all. Hopefully, you've taken the opportunity to check out Laura's bio online to see some of her accomplishments. We're going to be learning more about the music that she makes and her approach to it. And Laura, good morning, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Eugene. Hi, everyone. It's truly a privilege and a passion, really, to be included in this series. And Eugene, thank you for inviting me. And Eugene, you are one of my greatest inspirations, and so to be included here really is a very special privilege. And so thank you, and hello, everyone. My name is Loire, and I am a rhythm vocalist. What the heck is that? I'm still defining it because it's a term that Glenn Velez anointed me with. Um, I would say uh, over 20 years ago. I specialize in South Indian vocal percussion called konakal. Also, you'll hear the term solkatu. And I've incorporated many different styles of using the voice rhythmically, rhythmic play through my vocal expressions is something that I keep digging into and seeing how far we can take it and use these different extended vocal techniques in a way that's creative and fun and new and more than that, it allowed me to gain entryway into some of the very things that you mentioned in your comments. Um, because our connection and our relationship with Pulse is really everything, isn't it? And it's our deepest connection is through the heartbeat and to each other and our when we approach our voice or our instruments through that energy, we're already like setting ourselves free. And this idea that, rhythm sets us free is really true because there's something about the boundless energy and the boundless vibration, the boundless frequency and waves that happen when we are in music making that allows us to reach anywhere, really. We're essentially like in this amazing quantum entanglement with the universe, if you will. And and furthermore, I think a lot about how in vibrations and frequencies and waves in a way are our highest form of communication because it's beyond words, it's beyond association, and through that I get this feeling that music, and when we are expressing ourselves through music, everything that we offer is already encoded with this beautiful universal heartbeat. And when I teach and also before I do any music making, I always connect with that space. I invite that space to show up and set some kind of intention. It could be absolutely the very simple, the simplest thing, that music is love, or and then you start to play, because that very that moment, even if it's a picosecond, um, that that moment immediately ritualizes and makes a beautiful ceremony to also relax and to recognize that we're giving this gift of these expressions, and the gift that we're giving is really truly about our interconnectivity. Yeah. And all this, we all know this. I just like to emphasize it and illuminate it just a little before we get into some music making together, because I think we forget, including myself, because in the heat of the moment, like our wonderful conductor who expressed what happened, in the intro comments, I get that, of where we're at different speeds, or that we're in the heat of the moment and all pressure is on. And sometimes we forget, you're like, oh, wait a minute, we're this is all about music is this universal heartbeat, and we're giving this gift and we're connecting to it's all these beautiful things that we can just sort of just get displaced to the side a little bit when the pressure's on. So it's just a reminder that the more that we can allow that to come in to our experiences, I really do feel that our creative expressions, our rhythmic interconnectivity, and our the joy of what we do is going to just shine even more. Um, so that being said, speaking of experiencing our relationship to pulse and how we experience time, space, time flow, space flow. What is space flow? And so we have, like, this downbeats and upbeats, and then we have this infinite possibility of what can happen in between those compressions, or those contact points, right? Or destinations. We can look at it as a destination. And so I, at some point, became obsessed and fascinated with bird formations. The birds flying, especially in the V form. So when you, and I'm sure most of you know about this, but when you see the birds flying in the formation, they are traveling on the lift of one another through their rhythmic interconnectivity of the upward and downward wash of their wings. And of course, now I'm thinking of the conductor. I forgot your name, but this idea of ups and downs and this movement through space and this space flow. So I was like, wow, that's so amazing. They're traveling migrating such far distances with the most efficient use of their energy, and they can go very far together without a leader, right? So they switch positions um, based on who's the strongest bird during that moment, and they switch one in the front, then they go to the back, and they are creating that wind vortex through this upward and downward wash. So then I thought about, when I got into my vocal percussion, I started learning all these clapping patterns, which we are going to do later. And I was like, man, we're just flying, aren't we? We're just flying. And so I wanted to teach you a very simple chant, a rhythm chant, like a rhythm mantra, which is based on a combination of original syllable shapes and some of the traditional South Indian Konakal language. And I thought it would be nice to show you how a nice warm up, something that you can do at any point. And I encourage you, you can sit. I have a small little space here, but you can stand up if you want. You can, and what we're going to do is we're just going to experience upbeats and downbeats, but we're going to do it in a way that is more about the space flow, right? So instead of thinking about time, because we don't even really know what time is, right? I mean, time is happening all at once. That's all I know. We're we could think, oh well, we're flowing through time, but we're not really sure that that's true. That's a big argument, right, of what is time. So I like to think of it as we're traveling and we're experiencing the flow of space. And we're going to do it just through this metaphor. We're going to use the bird formation as a metaphor, and we're our own formation now. So I imagine whenever I'm with musicians, if I'm playing with Eugene and Glenn and Howard, we're like a little bird formation, right? And we're migrating. We're traveling through space. We're exploring space. And then there's these upbeats and downbeats, and then all this beautiful vibratory experience that's happening in between the pulse. So let's take a moment and just feel. My camera's not going to allow you to see the full wingspan, but what we want to do is open up our bodies, our rib cage, everything. We're just going to experience a stretch using our wings for a moment. And if you want, you can move around the room. And then at some point I am going to introduce our friend, the metronome. My best friend today. So we have our wings. Maybe sometimes you feel like your wings are very here. Like Glenn always says, I'm a hummingbird. I'm a hummingbird. Sometimes he goes like that. I'm a hummingbird. Sometimes we're an eagle. So we just want to open everything up. And this is not a bad thing in general for our, for just getting into our space and also getting prepared to approach our instruments. Everybody has their own thing of how they warm up. And now I'm going to teach you a chant, okay, before we put it into the flying. So we have ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu, 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 ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. Good. Now, listen. I'm going to put the metronome on, and it's going to be in a 6-beat cycle. But we're not thinking numbers at all. This is really just to organize space. And because of Zoom, because of the lag time, we need this to organize our lag time here. Okay, so let me let it go by. And even if you don't get the syllables right away, just let your voice connect with the pulse while we fly and see what it feels like to land and to lift. Landing and lifting, and then experiencing that space. And as we get into it, we'll do it for a minute. As we get into it, if you want to get up and move around, go for it. Okay? Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. 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 Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu, 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 ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. Now, I'm going to do 2 cycles, okay? And we'll do a call and response style now, okay? A call and response where I'm going to do it 1-to-1 ratio, and then I'll do a double time. So just feel the vibes, see the shapes of it, and just now let your voices become a little bit more free, where even if I'm singing more straight, you might want to explore pitches now with it, okay? Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. 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 Ho, ki, nu. Ta, na, pa, ta, na, pa, ta, na, pa, ta, na, pa. Ho, ki, nu. Ho, ki, nu. Ho, ki, nu. Ho, ki, nu. Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. Beautiful, beautiful. Now we're going to close. We're going to close in our wingspan, okay? And we're going to close in the wingspan, and we're going to make a clapping pattern. And this is a kind of variation, a bit hybrid, between the traditional South Indian clapping pattern called a tala. Tala, it translates really as time cycle. And so now I'm going to do a kind of my own, it's in between the flying and the tala, if you know what I mean. So we're going to have here, so it's ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. So we're going to let the last 3 beats fly in the pulse. We're going to pulse in the air. So now we're feeling a different kind of division of space. I love how when we fly, it's sort of, it has form and it's formless at the same time. But when we have the clapping pattern, it's more defined. Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. I'll do it with the metronome to organize the space. call and response. Ta, na, pa, ho, ki, nu. 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 Great. Feel good? Feel open? Yeah. Like I think a lot about how we can keep deepening our connection to the pulse and all these time tools. And of course, so many things of my work is just is completely inspired by Glenn's material. And also, I learned so much from Eugene just through our music making together of how we can each have a special relationship to the pulse. So there's the one thing is our unique relationship that we deepen for the rest of our lives. That's a lifelong journey of our friendship that continues to blossom and deepen with pulse, but also how our group heartbeat, our group pulse also deepens along the way as well, so they go together. And so these time tools like the clapping patterns, moving, flying, you can take your music that you're working on and reimagine it this way before you dig in, to the learning of it, just taking in the shapes of the piece through the pulse, or taking in the shapes with somebody that you might be playing with, or in the case of orchestra, wanting everybody just fly with it for a little bit to kind of develop that type of a deeper, even a bit more spiritual, if you will, connection to the music. And the other thing about it is I wanted to just mention something before we move into the next stage of all of this, is this idea of polarity of speeds, exploring very, very slow, and also what happens when we slow down tremendously. And I mean, you mentioned, what Glenn was talking about. Well, this idea that, when we slow down, we have a chance also to connect with every sound, every note in a way that's so much more intimate. We don't miss a lot of the overtones that might be happening, or the frequencies that maybe are not heard but are felt. And so the slowing down, is an amazing way to practice. Of course, we all know that, but in I was talking with Glenn about this, and I wrote down something that he said, and he said, where is it? Let me get my moment. Yeah, he said the source of sound is silence. The source of speed is slowness. I just love that. The source of speed is slowness. Because I said to Eugene the other day, and to Glenn, I said, slow is fast. So when we're in music, slow is fast. We need to take it down. And so yeah, our expressions, when we slow them down, we hear things that we wouldn't have caught. And then of course when we take things up tempo, um, they're just supercharged. It's electric, you know. So um, why don't we, Eugene, what do you think before I move to the meat
I
of
think
the
we're ready
Kona
for
call,
that.
which I'm really excited about? I think we're warmed up now. This is a really
Yeah.
beautiful feeling. I can feel everybody, even though we're in this digital space. Should we have a listen? And I'll set up
Yeah,
why we're
let's
listening.
do.
So we listened when you
Yeah.
all came into the room. We were listening to a an arrangement that Glenn and Eugene and Howard Levy and I created um, for the classic standard Nature Boy by Eden Abez. Most people know that track from Nat King Cole, and so, but we reimagined it through pulse rather than the more traditional way that you would approach a standard, which would be through the harmonic structure, and so instead of approaching it that way, we entered it through a rhythmic lens, through a rhythmic space, and through pulse. And we wanted to see, like, well, what would happen, you know, if you do it that way rather than the other way around. And the result of it is what you heard, and we're going to gift you the MP3, so you'll get that, you know, to because the materials that we're going to be getting into next are basically I've extracted the source rhythmic material from it. And I thought, how cool would it be for you to get into that as a launch pad for your improvisations and for exploring space, time, improvisation, and melodic invention. Because for me, and another facet to being a rhythm vocalist is that I enter any musical situation through experiencing rhythm. And that means that that is my engine. The rhythm and the pulse of the situation becomes my engine. And then that becomes also, in a way, my guide. And through that, and it's hard to describe, we will explore it, but through that, my melodic world and the expansion of the musical sound field just it just multiplies because suddenly I feel free. I feel free because I'm always grooving. When we're grooving, that's a great place to be, you know? That's a cool place to be. So let's listen to an excerpt. And this is up tempo, so don't freak out when you hear the when you hear the drum language that comes into it. Emily, our wonderful Emily, is going to play an excerpt of Nature Boy. Listen for a couple of things. You know, take it in, and I don't know how long it is, but maybe we listen twice. Listen to a couple of things. One, Eugene's groove, okay, on the cello, which is like a bass line, really, but it's beyond bass, Eugene. And listen to Glenn, and then listen to the syncopations of how the voice, the vocalizations sit into it. Okay, we're just
All
in a
right.
four beat cycle here. Okay,
We ready?
ready.
The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Daddy, keep it up.
magic day, he passed my way. And while we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Just to love and be loved
Yeah, Eugene. I mean, it can't get over what Eugene came up with that bass line. It
That
is
is truly my
just,
happy place sitting in there for sure.
man, that is so groovy. It's badass. Excuse my language. So let's rip it apart in a good way, okay? Let me teach you the drum groove, one of the drum grooves that is, and also it's basically what Eugene is playing. Also, it's okay. Because what you can do in your practice is take these rhythmic expressions, these rhythmic cells, if you will, and start to use them as a vehicle, as a launching pad, place an entry point into your instruments, um, in terms of taking them and then seeing what it's like to mess around with them and using them, groove on them, and then launch, start flying, right? Explore the space with them, change the pitch, embellish them rhythmically, embellish them melodically. But we have to start somewhere. So let me get another clapping pattern here, just to also introduce you to more of this other material that is a beautiful time tool. These clapping patterns are awesome. And the more that, you get into it, wow, there's one for every cycle. We're not going to have time to go into all the sevens and the fives and all that. That will be another time. But for today, we're going to do a 4-beat now, okay? All right, so let me get this light glare. There's a little glare here. Okay, there we go. How's that? Can you see my hands okay? A little awkward, but okay. So we have clap, pinky, ring, middle, clap, pinky, ring, middle, clap. So I think you did this with Glenn with the threes, but we have ta, ka, di, mi. We're going to do this with the click. So we'll do like a call and response, okay? With just some takadimis. Ta, ka, di, mi. Ta, ka, di, mi. Ta, ka, di, mi. Ta, ka, di, mi. Ta, di mi ta ka di mi. Takadimi, 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 takadimi. Takadimi, 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 takadimi. Ta, ka, di, mi. Ta, ka, di, mi. Great. Okay, now, so that's our clapping pattern. And then just listen to the groove, okay? Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Rest, listening. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Now, the most important thing with this material is to be able to make a clear difference between the pa and the doom. So let's just practice doom for a second. Doom is our lower body. We want to experience doom. Nothing is here. Nothing is here. We're just a vessel, okay? And we're receiving these shapes. We're sculpting. We're sculpting the space with these shapes, and they're going to emerge. And the doom should be ho ho ho. Let me hear you do ho ho ho. So you want to have, I don't know how many of you do yoga, but you want to have this kind of breath of fire. Your rib cage, everything is from this diaphragmatic, this muscle down here going huh, 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 huh. And now you're going to shape it into the doom, which is the low sound on the drum. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, doom. Doom, doom. This is our most confident place. This is the place we go to when we're not sure about making, when we are not sure, when we feel uncertain and we want to get clarity, we go doom, doom. And then everything makes sense. and then all is clear. I don't know, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I take this gig? No, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Doom, doom. It's another way of saying yes or no, depending on your intention. We set our intention and we get into our doom, 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 doom. So doom, pop, doom, pop, 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 pop. So on the drum, what Glenn would play is a muffled, like a pop, pop, pop. And of course, you know, you can all do that on your instruments too. You can translate all of this into any instrument. You'll create what that is. You'll find that how to translate those sounds in your unique way. So doom, pop, doom. Doom, pop, doom. Doom, pop, doom, doom. Doom, pop, doom, pop, doo, doom, pop, doo, doom. Doom, pop, doom, pop, doo, doom, pop, doo, doom, doom, pop, doo, doom. Cool. All right, let's jam. So I'm going to get the click, the metronome going, and we're going to use our 4-beat cycle. And why don't we do some call and response for a while and feel that space, that rest. Later, I'm going to fill in the little gap there with the space once we get grooving. We'll do a little call and response. And then when I go like that, keep it going continuous. And whenever you feel like you need to take a break vocally or just for any reason at all, take a break, jump back in. We always know where home is because now we're in the realm of rhythm and pulse. We're in the pulse realm, which is always a guaranteed home base. We always can find our way home when we are so connected with the pulse. And these time tools like the clapping pattern can always get back. We build a choreography between our breath and our pulse. That synchronization is like a little dance that we're making. So our score then is living now in our bodies. So we're off the page now, and becomes almost like our manuscript paper. So I know where my phrase lands. I know where it's contacting, and I also know when it's in the upbeat. I know when it's in between. I have this amazing feeling of how things exist in this little space bubble, of rhythm and pulse. Okay. I hope that made sense because I have no idea what I just said. Here we go. Doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Rest. Doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Talan, good doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Tari kita taka doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Talan, good doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Tari kita taka doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Talan, good doom, pat doom, pat doo doom, pat doo doom, doom, pat doo doom. Tari kita taka. Yeah. You got it? Awesome. Okay, that's step one. Now, let me see. Eugene, would this be the time for the loop?
Oh, sure. It's a little bit faster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Let me do a couple of rounds though. Let me kick it up. Where are you
Okay.
at 80, 90?
I think it's about 90, actually,
Okay.
92,
I think
something like
everybody's
that.
ready. I feel it. Let's go a little faster before we do this other thing, okay? Listening? Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Woo! Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Talan gudoom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Tari kita taka doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Doom, pa doom, pa doo doom, pa doo doom, doom, pa doo doom. Yeah. That's pretty fast, but let's see. So, yeah. By the way, I was
So we,
just filling in some fun little riffs there. So when you practice, right, play with that. Play with the rest. So you want to keep your groove going and then see what happens, how it inspires those spaces. You might want to jam something out there. Okay. Sorry, Eugene. Go for it.
so no, as we listen to this loop now, how should we interact with this?
Well, I think the thing would be is all I think for one step one would be having I'll mute myself because I'm afraid that if I don't, there'll be a lag time at first. But I think we should all jam the groove while you're while you're playing the loop, and maybe you jam a little bit, improvise a little bit or something, because I want to bring it to life of how would something like this sound if it's not in the percussion language, right? Once you have the language, we're already in the right frame of creative space because we have no association with these shapes. They're just so cool and beautiful and pure, and they are already aligning us in the energy of creativity. And so I thought it would be really fun, and Eugene was so generous to create the loop of the groove, but with the instrument, with the cello. And then why don't we see what it feels like to sing along with that? And while Eugene surprises us.
And so, for those of us who don't, whose instinct wouldn't be with the syllables and the drum language, can we just use our own scat language and
Yes.
and respond to it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the key.
So maybe
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll play the loop, and then I'll record a bass line on top of this drum loop, and then maybe we'll do a little call and response. I will do like 2 bars pizzicato, kind of a solo, quote unquote, and then the circle can respond with 2 bars of their own improv. So we'll
Yeah,
kind of do the call and response that way.
that's great. The one thing that I want to emphasize at this stage is to use the shape, use if you can, if you can get the drum language, use that really as your. I keep saying the launch pad. Use that as your engine because amazing things start to happen when you stay with that idea of using the rhythmic voice. The rhythmic power of your voice will translate into your instrument in ways that I think will be exciting and surprising. So even if you don't have the shapes yet, just have that intention that I'm going to get into the rhythmic power of my voice now and see what happens next. Okay? Yeah, and try to keep the clapping patterns if you can. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to mute myself.
Here comes the groove. So let's start the call and response. Me, 2 bars.
Gene, can you turn your cello louder?
Well, that was sure fun.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Amazing. You know, I could feel already how the our syncopations also change our when we deepen that connection with the pulse by singing by singing the groove rather, our sense of play becomes freer because we're able to dance around the pulse in a way that maybe is slightly new. Sorry, my camera just got fuzzy again. Hang on. Woo! Anomalies.
But what you said was so true because I found that from playing this bass pattern over and over again, that when I went to play rhythmically and melodically on top of it, that I really felt such a strong kind of skeleton in my body from having sung the rhythm of that bass line, the doom pa doom pa doom pa doom pa doom, so many times, and playing it. Then I felt somehow like that was like a firm ground, and then I could do all kinds of rhythmic permutations on top of it. It was like you said, it was very very liberating.
Yeah. Yeah. I even felt it. It never this never it never it never stops, this peeling away of our rhythmic experience, to just keep exploring and finding new ways, to connect. It's so exciting. I find it very
This might be a good time also just to illustrate, Laura, if you were into it, just what some of this drum language sounds sped up.
yeah. Yeah, because I want to get into that now. Okay, because whatever, uh time we have, I feel like we can deep dive for a minute into some of the really up tempo material. So let me just sing to you the riffs, okay? Okay, so check this out. So we have in the track that we're going to give you, it has everything that you're going to get notes as well on the drum language of how to so that you remember the articulations and how they look on the page. So here's how it sounds. I'm just going to do it with the clapping pattern without the metronome. So it goes taka-doom pop, a thadi-giddy-doom, thadi-giddy-ticka-thadi-giddy-doom pop, a thadi-giddy-ticka-doom, thadi-giddy-ticka-taka-doom pop, a thadi-giddy-doom, thadi-giddy-ticka-thadi-giddy-doom pop, a thadi-giddy-ticka-doom, thadi-giddy-ticka. So I'm going to break it down. Did that come in clear or did I blow out my mic? Yeah? So we have taka-doom, which you've known. I think you've done some of that before with Glenn. And taka-doom pa, Okay, this is the important one. This is directly from the South Indian material. Toddy. Toddy. Think of like a hot toddy. Toddy. Very important. The tongue, ri. Very soft tap behind the teeth. Toddy. Toddy. So it's not on the page, it'll be written with an R, but it's really in between an R and a D. Okay? It's very soft. Toddy. Because if you say R, it'll be a roadblock. Your teeth are the roadblock, and the re is going to, it's not going to allow you to go, you want to be able to eventually go, that is because of the hari. This hari. Now relax into it. Hari. Hari. And as we're doing this, you can already start to imagine, how is this going to sound on your instrument? Like how cool would that be to be able to sing doom pop, doom, play that with your instrument and sing it at the same time? That'd be so interesting, to explore that. So tarikita. Tarikita doom. There's our doom again. Again, you have the lower body doom. Tarikita doom. Tarikita doom. Tarikita doom. Tarikita doom. Now we're going to have a conversation. Tarikita doom. 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 Tarikita doom pa? Tarikita doom pa? Tarikita doom pa? Tarikita doom pa? Tukadoom pa? Tarikita doom. Tarikita taka? Tarikita doom pa? Tarikita taka doom. Tarikita taka? It's a great way to learn when you practice. It's a great way to have a conversation with it, an imaginary conversation with somebody, or with the universe, or with yourself, or with somebody that actually is in the room with you, because it stimulates the language center of your brain. Your neurotransmitters will imprint more. I think it accelerates the learning when you dialogue with these wonderful phrases and shapes. So now I'm going to show you. Let me take the tempo way down. Sorry, no more 90, Eugene. Okay, let's do it at 60. Now we're gonna do it. I was showing you the double time. We're gonna learn the half speed. And then later we can have a go at the double time, or that'll be something that will challenge and inspire you in your practice, and you'll have the track to work with. But listen to it at half speed, okay? Taka-doom, pa, tari-kita-doom. Tari-kita-taka, tari-kita-doom, pa. Tarikita taka doom. Tarikita taka doom. Pa. Tarikita doom. Tarikita taka tarikita doom. Pa. Tari kita taka doom. Tari kita taka. Let me break it down. Just one cycle. Taka doom. Pa. Taka doom. Pa. Tari kita doom. Tari kita taka. Tari kita doom. Pa. Sorry, I got lost. Let me start over. Uh-oh, I fell off my bicycle. Hang on. Let me get back up. Taka doom. Pa. Tari kita doom. Tari kita taka. 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 Taka doom. Pa. Tari kita doom. Tari kita taka. Taka doom. Pa. Tari kita doom. Tari kita taka. Tari kita doom. Pa. Tari kita taka doom. Tari kita taka. Tari kita doom. Pa. Tari kita taka doom. Tari kita taka. Tari kita doom. Pa. Tari kita taka doom. Tari kita taka. Tari kita doom. Pa. Tari kita taka doom. Tari kita taka. Tari kita doom. Pa. Tari kita taka doom. Tari kita taka. Okay, now what happens is, I know we're running out of time. Ah! Help! No, so many things I want to tell you. Okay, so the most important thing here is to begin to develop a relationship with the tala. These are your wings. These are your wings. These are how we fly. These are how we go into the wonder and the strangeness and the magic of the unknown. That's where we want to go. And so we use this as a tool, and then we begin to slowly morph, let our rhythms guide a pitch. Taka-doom, pa, tarikita-doom, tarikita-taka, tarikita-doom. Da 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 dum ba da dum da 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 ba da ba da 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 ba dum ba dum dum pa dum pa dum pa dum ba da 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 ya dum dum pa dum pa dum pa dum da da go da 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 dum taka dum. Pa. Tarikita doom. Tarikita taka. Tarikita doom. Pa. Pick up your instruments if you have them. Let's do this as the last bit, okay? I'm going to keep the metronome. I'm going to bring it a little faster. Let's finish with this, okay? So, taka doom. Pa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just be like riffing off of these grooves, okay? Let yourself be free with it. Maybe you grab onto the drum groove. Maybe you grab onto the riff, the melodic riff or it's not melodic, the drum language riff, and see what happens with it. Now, because we're running out low on time, the other quick possibility that you can add to this, the word yes. Your ecstatic sound. Yes. Your ecstatic spirit. Yes. So it might be something like, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Taka-doom. Yes, yes. Tarikita-doom. Tarikita-taka. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Let yourself go. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, yes, doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, I'm flying. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, 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 yes. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Jam, doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, 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 yes. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. 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 Yes, 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 yes. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Tarikita taka doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, 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 doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, doom, pa-doom, pa-doo-doom, pa-doo-doom, doom, pa-doo-doom. Yes, 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 yes. Yes!
Yes!
Woo! We made it.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
We made it.
Oh, beautiful,
Wow.
beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Wow. It's so strange. Like, I could feel everybody's jam, you know? I can't wait for an
Well,
in-person with you all. We got to do
well,
that.
even just the metronome with your vocal groove just made such a strong, frame to hold this. Oh, that
Cool.
was really fun.